Well, this is JC one more time. I finally got around to to finishing chapter 26. This is about as long as I've taken to write a chapter in quite a while. So anyhow, I got my favorite comfortable knock around shirt on, my storytelling shirt. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and start on chapter 26 of my book entitled Todd. It became very relaxed after the story had all been told. Everyone understood the kid's worry about his grandpa and made allowance for it. Now that everything was out in the open, everyone felt comfortable discussing the franchise. The wheels had already been set in motion to get things going. Now all they had to do was wait for the various licensing departments to check and assure themselves all was well and legal. All requirements had been met. Then the state could issue the license and okay the go-ahead. So the conversation turned to the actual application of running a franchise. They discussed the hours of operation, different methods of managing the stores and advertising, among other things. It might be a bit awkward for some to adjust to a new routine, for instance, setting up displays and posting ads in the windows, since all stores had to do most things the same as the main store, which was, of course, Daniel's Hardware Store Incorporated in Belton. Todd was careful to mention different aspects of running the stores, careful to not only specify MOs, that's modes of operation, but also to ask advice from Junior and Jim in a manner that would assure them that they had a say in how things would go, to include them at the top rung rather than as the smaller struggling appendages of the main body, the Belton store. And that didn't go unnoticed by all. Even Jake noticed and commented on Todd's obvious inclusion of the smaller stores into a position of quasi-importance, along with Daniel's store. Jake, you might be overlooking something here, said Todd. What do you mean? Asked Jake. You seem to have a lot of knowledge in the management and structure of Jim's store and the hardware business in general. Yeah, I've been around it as long as I can remember. I even worked there from time to time during summer vacation from school, replied Jake. Todd hesitated and rubbed his chin, as if he had chin whiskers, in a thoughtful manner. He said, and you're working for a degree in business management, he asked. Yes, that's right, said Jake. Have you ever thought of going into business right here in Mercer? Todd asked. Maybe in the hardware business, for instance. Well, no, I haven't thought of that. It's not exactly what I had in mind for my future. Jake looked at his grandfather then. No offense, Grandpa. None taken, son, said Jim. I know it's different strokes for different folks, and there's a lot involved in running a retail store. Lots of responsibilities. Yeah, said Junior, it takes a certain kind of person to do this kind of a job. That's right, said Betsy. I had no idea how involved it was when Bobby was here doing everything. Why, just keeping the books kept me busy. Leslie began. I never could have guessed how involved the hardware business is, she said. Hold it, everyone. What's going on here? Jake asked. Is this the let's hire Jake conspiracy or what? Everyone feigned surprise and many ohs and of course nots were mouthed. Well, hey, grandson. Would that be so bad? Said Jim with a big grin. I mean, I ain't going to live forever, and I might need someone to take over one of these days. Now, Grandpa, don't talk like that. We all know you're going to live forever, said Jake. Yeah, me and Methuselah. Now the strange phone caller situation was resolved, and everyone was at ease and satisfied that things were back to normal. So Betsy suggested it was time to head back. Les thought about suggesting going by the truck stop. So Todd said, how about all of us going by the truck stop at Dexter and saying hello to some friends of Les and mine? Maybe have a cup of coffee before we head back. Les looked a feigned glare at Todd and spoke his name. Todd. Todd quipped. You don't want to go? He grinned a big grin. Yes, of course I do. You know it was my idea. And a good idea it was, my dear, allowed Betsy, who was beginning to become aware of the little I was already thinking of that game between Todd and Leslie. Jim and Jake came with him in Jim's car. Oh, Jim and Jake came with him in Jim's car, so they would have their own way back later. They pulled in right behind Todd and parked right by his car. They all went inside and immediately were recognized by Dana, their favorite waitress. She walked right up to Les and extended her hand for a handshake. Les smiled and took her hand and pulled her close in a hug. Dana didn't release her hand, but led her back to a double table near the back and held a chair for her when she sat. "How's that for service?" she asked with a grin. "Just great," replied Les. "Now, how about the other 5? "That'll be easy," she said. "Now, everyone pull your chairs out, and on the count of 3, all sit." I got a laugh from the others, but they complied, and in 3 seconds were all seated. "Coffee all around?" asked Dana, and left without waiting for an answer. "What a ball of fire," quipped Jake as he watched her walk away. "Is she always quick like this?" He asked no one in particular and answered himself with, "I bet she is." They chatted with each other as Dana returned with a serving tray of glasses of water and a coffee pot. She placed the glasses around and began pouring the coffee. Todd could feel Jake about to comment on Dana again, and so he asked her, "Is your husband here?" "Not yet, but he's on his way," she smiled. "You're married," Jake said aloud. "Bummer." "Oh, it ain't so bad," said Dana with a grin. "How's Chuck doing?" asked Todd. "Well, he's," Dana began, then added, "Oh, here he comes now. He can tell you himself." Chuck got to within speaking distance of the group and stopped and looked at him. He didn't speak or even smile at first. It was as if he was surprised at them being here. Then he nodded a hello and grinned a small grin. Todd could detect nervousness, as could Leslie. Todd looked at Les and said, "Go ahead." Leslie shook her head in a "again" shake. Then, with a huge smile, she stepped forward and extended her hand to Chuck and said, "Hello, Chucky. We've been waiting for you." I got a chuckle from him, and he allowed her to pull him to the table. Then he relaxed, and a big smile came on his face, and he said, "Well, hello, everyone. What a surprise." Glancing at Les, added, "And a pleasant one, too." "Watch it, big boy," she quipped with a grin. "What's the occasion?" he asked no one in particular. "Just slumming or what?" he added. "We just got some business to discuss about the hardware store," said Todd. Then added, "Chuck, this is my mother, Betsy, and these 2 are Jim Carlton and his grandson, Jake. They're from Mercer. Jim owns the hardware store there." "Oh, yeah," said Chuck. "I heard about the new mall." "Do you have the new hardware store?" he asked. "No, sure don't. I got the little store downtown right on Main Street. I had it a lot of years." Chuck looked at Junior. How you doing, Junior? I haven't seen you for a while." "Oh, just okay," he replied. "It's been kind of slow of late, but nothing to worry about. How are things with you?" he added. Chuck looked at Dana and then said, "Don't ask." Todd could feel tension starting and asked, "You been working steady?" Dana piped in, "Oh, he's between jobs right now. His job finished up and we're waiting for the next one to start." And then she added with a grin, "But I'm still going strong, and as long as big tippers like you all keep coming in, there's no worries." "Dana," said Chuck with a frown. Obviously not happy, she spoke up. "I can answer for myself." Dana looked around quickly and took her pad and pen from her apron pocket. "Hey, is anyone ready to order yet?" This is the end of chapter 26 of Todd.